Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And our topic this week is all about our desires. So it's all about our desires. Let me ask you, when is the last time you felt delight? When is the last time you felt delight, wonder, joy, that element of surprise, excitement, that something's brewing, um, or even experiencing amazing things happening out of the blue and just totally being surprised by it? When did you feel that? Because the reason I ask is because most of us are so focused in things that are going wrong, focused in blame, anger, feeling betrayed, um, focused on worrying in our fears and our doubts. And in this way, we actually don't live the life that we fully, truly desire to live. So I ask you to try, feel it. How does it, what does delight feel like? And I ask that because even in myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember feeling delighted, excited, um, and just feeling that feeling in my heart. It just didn't ignite. So that's why I ask you, because a lot of us don't know this is what we're doing and this is what we're missing out on. That we're not aware because we're just on autopilot and constantly in our mind overthinking how things can go wrong, worrying, being hyper vigilant, um, making sure everything's in order just in case something goes wrong, being really attached to outcomes. And we base all our value or our happiness in an outcome occurring. Just if this happens, then I'll be happy. If I get this, then I'll be happy. If this um, works out for me, then, but we never get there. It never happens because we're always waiting. Um, so this is what I'd like you to think about. That if none of those doubts, none of those fears, attachments to outcomes, where you completely believe in yourself, have trust and faith that everything's happening for you, what would you desire? Your desired life, what would it look like? How would it feel? So I don't want you to tap into the practicality of it. I want you to tap into the feeling of it. How would it feel? It feel abundant, it feel free, it feel loving, supported. Um, without any doubts or fears, no ifs, buts, and maybes, no logical, where you're not in your logical brain. Oh, but I can't do that because of that. How many times have I heard my clients completely do not, aren't happy in their jobs, and they just have this, anytime I just say, okay, well, what would you like your career to look like? Oh, but I can't because of the distance, or I can't because they need me, or I can't because I need it's financially stable. Um, I can't because it'll look like I failed. Um, all those constant doubt. If we took all of that away, just dropped it, just decided, I'm just going to drop it now. Gone. They're not mine. We've built that identity through our childhood traumas, through our limiting beliefs, things that we stored during that trauma, or even generational coding and programming. Everything we were told as a child, oh, you can't do this because that's silly, get a proper job. Or there's so many things that we get told, or don't do that, don't do that. They try and protect us, um, And yes, it's fine. It was there. It was needed to get through, get by, but we don't need to anymore. What if we don't need to anymore? And what if we can just drop it and just trust? What would you fully desire? So I'll give you a little example of where I fully began believing magic, believing, call it manifestation, believing that there's something out there bigger than me that's making things happen. So, and it came from the most lowest of points in my life. The last 7 years has been the most toughest. Went through divorce, um, so many things, an injury, and they all were like my low points. But then the lowest was when suddenly I lost my home. And it came out of the blue. I was not expecting it. I've always believed I'm always looked after. I'm always looked after. It doesn't matter whatever happens. I always pick myself. I'm always looked after. Now, this was in the middle of a rental crisis. Um, and I needed my home to do my work, sound healing. I started my own business, left my job. Um, it was quite drastic, to just leave the job. And I did. The training for sound healing was in Blue Mountains. My job as a recruitment officer as a nurse recruitment officer was demanding a lot of me. And I was like, no, I've been studying counseling. I've got my master's. I'm ready to venture now, venture out. And I just left and I went to Blue Mountains and to train for sound healing, and started my own business, complete out of my savings. I had like no income coming in. And then I lost my home, my rental. And I was like, what am I going to do? But then again, I picked myself up. One of my friends said she's moving out, getting a house built. I can maybe move into her home with my family. So I thought, you know what? Right now, maybe the universe is telling me work on your business, because I obviously had my kids and they were taking up a lot of my time. So they went and moved at their dad's. I was heartbroken, but I was still looking at the best side of it. And I moved in a small bedroom in a shared house with a load of young people. I felt like a student again, on a blow up bed. And and I was like, what am I going to do? Because I have nowhere to do my work. Um, but I still stayed positive. And then my local gym gave me the opportunity to start doing group sessions there. I wasn't trained as a group sound therapist, so it was totally out of my comfort zone. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. Um, but I did it, and it was amazing. It was nerve-wracking. It was amazing. And then I got a fortnightly slot, which I was really happy about. Everything was going my way, but there was still not enough income it was complete rental crisis. Every house I went to visit, complete torn down houses, but there was like 100 people looking. And I was like, they're not going to give a single mom without a regular income at the house. I applied, obviously, and never got it. So obviously, every time you feel beaten down, I was missing my kids. The father wasn't letting me see them as much. He was playing games, saw me at a low point, and took advantage of that. Um, but I still had that hope of having my friend's house. And then in the last minute, she backed out. I was like, that's it. I could not keep picking myself up again. I just broke down, completely broke down. I remember that feeling of every bit of me, every energy, happiness just drained out of my body. And I was like, what am I going to do? I'm never going to get my kids back. And I just went under, started drinking lots. I kept doing my group sessions, but my heart wasn't in it. I kept doing them. I kept showing up. I had to do at least 2 hours of meditation before any sessions to get out of that, because when you do sound healing, you cannot be in that state, especially when you're holding space for people. But then I would go under again and I didn't know how to get out. I couldn't see any of my blessings. The group sessions were actually going amazing, but I, yeah, I didn't see the blessings of that, I'm so lucky that the gym is letting me do this in their premises. And I did eventually pick myself up, like I do. Took more time this time. Um, I was doing Muay Thai. At that time, I was actually training for a fight, which I backed out of last minute. I was going through perimenopause, which I didn't realize. So my cortisol level was up, stress level, anxiety. Um, so I think the best thing I did was to stop Muay Thai because that is fight or flight. I'm already in fight or flight. I'm already in survival mode, already feeling like everything's a threat. And then I'm training for a fight and getting beaten up. That was completely, I think when I stopped doing that and stepped away from it, I got myself a place. I started thinking more clearly. So I was still renting my little room. So I thought I've got extra income, I've got money, savings to maybe rent a space for my one-on-ones. Luckily, in that one-on-one space, there was also a reception area where I could do groups because I didn't have one-on-one clients really. I just had group clients. So I kept continued doing groups, did a grand opening, lots of people turned up, and it was amazing. So I started building my one-on-ones. And then, and because I didn't have that many one-on-one clients, I had that space for 3 days a week. It was a space that I could see my kids as well because it was close to where the dad lives. So things started picking up. I started feeling joy again, seeing my kids again. And then I had a room also for my instruments, my equipment, that I'm very connected to those equipment. I didn't like the fact that they were stored away every time, had no space for them. So they actually had a space for them. And I started just going within, doing the inner work, doing yoga in that room, doing the inner work, meditation, using the sound, the tuning forks, journaling, everything I could, just got into that, started working within, going within, and just removing all negative thoughts, all the scarcity, and started listening to myself. What would I tell my clients? I knew exactly where I was going wrong and what I should be doing. What should I be telling? What would I tell my clients? I want a home, right? So that's my desire. That is my desire. I want a home for myself, for my kids, and for my business. It was completely undoable in logistically. If I look at the houses I went to, our price range, I even went to above our price range. There was nothing that would house my business. They were completely run down. But I took away all those negative thoughts, and this is what I desire. That's my desire. And then I went into what does having a home feel like? Now, that was a difficult one to go to as well because as a child, we were moved around so many times. I did not feel like home. I was sent to India, to my grandparents, my dad, my they divorced. It was very unstable home. But I remember the first 5 years, 6 years, were with my grandparents in the Himalayas, and they were my nurturing safety net, love, joy. So I tapped into that, how it felt with my grandparents, the nurturing. Um, I also had 10 years home in England when I got married. And that's probably the longest I stayed in one place. So I just tapped into all those feelings, visualizing it, smelling it, feeling it. What does home feel like? It feels like safety, it feels like security, it feels like a warm blanket. Also, I had my Padbury space, so I could tap into that space. That was mine. I felt at home. See my kids there, even though like we can't live together there. And I just started accepting, completely started accepting this is the situation. There's nothing I can do about it. All I can do is work on my business and hopefully start earning enough income to get something. Business was slow. Like I wasn't charging that much at all. Because money belief, that's a whole different story, whole different Wellness Wednesday call. Um, but they're all the things that I just took away. The income, how much would I need? Who would give me a house? I just took it all away. I just accepted it. Um, Kids were a lot happier. We actually started becoming an adventure because at the business we had a reception area. My daughter helped out in reception, helped out in the group sessions. It actually started becoming, it was a joint venture and they became part of my business, whereas they weren't before. Really became part of my business. It makes me teary, and that happiness, that feeling, that warmth. Um, and I just, so yeah, I guess it started becoming a reality, the warmth and the happiness that I was seeking, that I was desiring, without the physical aspects of it. Um, and then one day, I just, I've been still looking at houses, going to places, and then I wasn't even looking in this area. Um, but for some reason, train tracks kept coming into my thoughts because my grandparents' house was close to a train track. My grandfather actually, when the British Empire came, he they built train tracks. So train tracks just kept coming into my mind, and then this house was near a train station, close to a train station. And the girls to visit me as well, they had to start catching trains, which they really loved because it was an adventure for them, something new. So I kept seeing train tracks. I thought, let's just go and see this house. And on the ad, it said 4 a.m. I was like, oh, it must be a typo. So we turned up, me and my daughter turned up at 4 a.m. It was slightly above our budget as well. I didn't really look at the house interior of it that much. I never attached to any of the houses. We just used to go and look. I just like, I'm doing my, taking action, but I'm not attaching because in a way I was like, there's nothing out there um, that would fit us perfectly. I'm going to have to compromise in a sense. So we turned up, nobody was here. I thought, oh, maybe it's a mistake on the ad. We waited a bit and nobody, but normally we go to a house show, there's hundreds of people, like a group, massive waiting. So I was like, oh, we must have made a mistake. But then the agent turned up. I was like, oh, okay. And he opened the door. We went in straight away. Straight away, I knew it was mine. I knew it was for us. It had a separate space where I could do my one-on-ones, um, space I could probably even do groups, plus rooms for my daughters that are away from the business. It's perfect. Like, you know, when you just know something is yours. I haven't had that feeling for a very long time. But even though all that we've gone through, I was just like, this is ours. And there was nobody else there. Nobody else there, just us. So I went in, filled in the form, no doubt. I was already celebrating with my daughter. Obviously, she was a little bit still nervous, but I was like, it's ours. It's ours. Don't worry. It's ours. It's made for us, every single part of it. And next thing you know, a couple of days later, they said they've put the contract, but there was a higher price on it. No way I could afford that. And I was like, oh, but it said this price. And they go, oh, we must have made a mistake. So they spoke to the owner and said, okay, it was our mistake. We'll honor it. Done. Within a week, we were moved in. And that is, I was like, that is magic. That is magic. That is my inner work. I also honored myself because I did the inner work. I got out of the rut. Um, and I felt the magic. So, so that was my example of magic, whether people believe it or not. I now fully believe it. I now know what I need to do um, when I fully know my desire. A lot of us, we actually don't know what we actually desire, which is understandable because we're always in our limiting beliefs, all the everything we're carrying. It's very hard to look through what we actually desire because it's always filtered through doubt and fear. So I wanted to go through, break it down, what I did and how I did it. So with first of all is knowing what you desire. So I go backwards instead of trying to find out your desire, is break everything down, step into your heart center, just let everything drop. First, raise your vibration, your frequency into that state of complete peace and calm, where you're not overthinking, when you're not holding on to anything, any outcomes, any beliefs, any doubts, any fears, any worry of judgment. What would people think of me? You're just letting it all go. You just become completely source energy. And you can get into that source energy by just slowing your breath, closing your eyes. You can try this now. And I practice this daily. And just breathe in and out through your heart center. You can pop your hands on your heart and just bring your awareness. So your awareness, if you bring it back of your eyes, so it's like a third person. You're this body. Now you're just becoming aware. You're an observer of what's happening to you and your body. So connecting to your body, your breath, your heart. Send that observer, that awareness into your heart. And yes, our heart might be full of sorrow, pain, and it's hard to tap into love and joy. But what you want to do is open your heart up. That you can let all of that drop. Let it go. So as you breathe in, imagine like a flower bud opening. And that's your heart opening, because a lot of us are walking around with our heart closed, and that's why we're not receiving. So opening, and as you breathe out, imagine it expanding the energy of your heart center of love. Opening, and you're letting, you can like let your body know it's safe, because the body is so used to survival mode of being in hypervigilance, in threat, that it sometimes even finds heart opening or love and joy as a threat. So it's letting your body know this is safe, you're okay, you're safe, you're completely safe. You can dream, you can wish, you can believe, you can let everything else go. This is you, just you and source. What pulls you to source? Now, everyone has a different pull. It's a conversation I had with my daughter, and she said it's music. And every time she listens to her favorite artist or music that really makes her feel things, that opens her up to source. And source is our true, authentic self. And we're all connected to this source. Everyone, you can believe in your own belief, universe, God, energy. I believe in source as an energy, that it's there and we're all connected to that source. We're all from that source, from the stardust. And you can imagine a line coming from your heart reaching that source. And you can see that as a ball of energy, beautiful, that connects everyone, the whole world. And you can ask yourself, not in your mind, in your heart, same as asking your higher self, what do I desire? If there were no limits, if there were no obstacles, no limiting beliefs, what would I truly desire? And the answer will come to you through your heart. That will make you feel complete relief, free. For me, after we moved here, I started going to Thailand for holidays. And I was like, I want to retire in Thailand. I feel abundant there. I feel free there. I feel everything is fresh and clean and new, even though it's not clean in a sense of how we are in the Western world, but just the air is fresh and clean. And that's where I feel completely myself, where I feel lighter. So that's my next desire. That's my next, so that I've chosen a desire. And then it's like, so first choose your desire without any limiting beliefs. What is it that you really want to bring in? And then, just going to check my notes because I'm going to forget a few things. Again, like I did with my home, what does that desire feel like? So when we connect our body, our mind, and our heart together, that's coherence. And that is our full energetic field. Because when you're just thinking from your mind, you can say affirmations, you can say manifestations, you can even visualize. But if your heart and your body isn't feeling it, that magnetic field is not aligned. So it's feeling it in your body, in your heart, visualizing it, sensing it, all your senses, smells. So I just tap into Thailand and I can smell it. I'm there right now. I can feel it, the air, the smell, everything about how I feel. How does it feel? It feels free, completely free. It feels abundant of wildlife, fruits, vegetables. This is, so I'll just tap into all of that feeling as if I'm already there. It's done. And step into those feelings rather than the logistics of how it's going to happen. Because I'm in a rental, I have no retirement plan. My work, I realized with sound healing that there's only so many clients I can see in a day or a week before it completely burns me out because I'm in that vibration constantly. So I realized I couldn't carry on the way I was, that I was doing. So those are all my limiting beliefs. How would I even ever do this? I'm going to have to work, see 50 clients a week to ever raise enough income to be able to live abroad. What about my kids? They love their school, their friends. All that limited belief gone. I've just gone into my desire. And that is it. The rest, I'm going to trust that it's going to take me in the right path. Yes, I desire my kids to be there. They're older now, so I don't expect them to be there full time, but to be there, to be able to see me, for me to be able to come back, it's all going to happen. And things have actually started happening. And I actually didn't realize it that they were actually happening. But yeah, opportunities are coming my way, like my online business, like this, like my membership with my mentor, having a coach, um, affiliate marketing. Everything is just sort of falling into place that I can actually start seeing it as reality, that it can actually happen, even though I wasn't bothered about that. I can't. I was just in my desire. Um, So yeah, first of all, it's calming your nervous system. Always do it in a space of not desperation, not anger, not revenge, not frustration. Oh, I'm going to do this. This is what I desire, so I can, you know, put finger up at that person or whatever. Um, do it in a place of calm, happiness, joy. So it's stepping into it first before your answers are revealed. And that's where people struggle the most. But you have to believe in them. I think once you start getting evidence, it becomes easier. Once you start collecting evidence, because I know this is possible, because it's happened before, and I know what I did to get there. We don't always have the chance to. I had that chance opportunity to spend so much time by myself doing the inner work. We don't always have that chance, but we build small habits. It doesn't have to be a full day of meditation, and it's building small. And this is why I have this embodied wellness community, because we're building it slowly. It's become a habit of staying in this energy of delight, of surprise that things are going to come my way. I can't believe it. Delight me, surprise me. I'm letting go. I can let go of attachment, of outcome. I can trust, I can believe. This is amazing. And feeling those excitement, it's like being like childlike again. It's so foreign to a lot of us. It really was for me as well, because you know, we've got so many things to do, bills to pay, mortgage, go work. We've got so many, we're on autopilot. So you build it slowly and you build it small. You don't have to do what I did, which was leave my job, destruct everything, disturb everything, my kids' lives, everyone. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it slowly and it still works. And you step into it pretty quick. It takes 21 days of new habits. So I've got new habits, weekly new habits that we embody so you don't get overwhelmed. and you just add to it. And trust me, I'm doing these things as well because it's very easy to fall back. Because yes, I did that in a work, but once I moved, I had to do all the moving and start working and paying bills and had huge bills to pay. I went back into because I never built habits. I never built an identity. I just went into it for a short period of time. It's building those things where it just becomes you. I didn't embody it. Whereas now it's all about embodiment. And that is just stays true. So yeah, comment here if you want the link for it's for only for women because that's who I've always worked with. I can tap into the energy a lot more easily. So comment embody and it's embodied wellness. This is the work I do as one-on-one coach if you're in a lot of trauma. And I also hold workshops, which is a group workshop where we can tap into our self-belief, self-worth, letting go of outcome, letting go of attachment, and being able to live the life that you desire.